What if Man of Steel was good? I know a lot of people love anything Zack Snyder does. This video isn't for you. If you love Man of Steel, that's great. There's a lot to love. It looks great, it has some insanely stimulating action sequences, but for me, there's a lot left to be desired, and presents a deeply misunderstood view of Superman's personality and mythology. And it lacks the ease and simplicity that comes with a classic Superman story. Okay, let's jump into the story and try to make this work. I don't know why superhero films, especially DC films, want to start with a copious amount of expository backstory in a world that we're never going to see again. It's always 13 minutes of Krypton or Themyscira or whatever, and I mean, I kind of get it. These are rich worlds with a lot of mythology and avenues for interesting design. Who wouldn't want to go here? But it's so much setup for places and people who have barely any influence on the main story, and most of the time it's not even fun. Let's try and make this stuff a little less linear and cut out the gratuitous Kryptonian disaster movie in the beginning. Instead, let's start small and build up to that scene. Let's start in Kansas. A small busted up truck drives out of downtown Smallville and heads towards the fields. The Kents have a short but spirited conversation, something light and endearing, so we feel like these are sweet, likable people. Suddenly, a flash of light, a streak of flame in the air, and something whooshes past their car. They go up to it to find a baby, a happy, cooing cutie, and their hearts immediately melt. They look at each other knowingly, and we cut to the title. The idea of introducing us to Superman through Lois Lane's investigations is a pretty solid idea. We can be in the Arctic with all the military personnel trying to find the spaceship, and maybe we can have a scene where she's having a meal with all the army people, including the scientist and Clark sitting in the room as well, listening in. She starts to tell the story of her tracking down this mysterious figure who's been helping people around the country. That's when we can see those clips of Clark from the movie where he's saving those people from the oil rig. The following scenes can be the same, but with the outcomes a little different to showcase Clark's gentle nature. So, like, he climbs ashore and sees the clothesline, and instead of just stealing the clothes outright, because Clark is literally too virtuous to do that, you could show him actually going up to the door of the house and politely asking the family for some clothes. It can be like a cutesy, kind of awkward scene that can endear us to the character. The family can pity him and give him a job at the bar. Then there's the scene of him working at the bar where he defends the waitress who's being harassed, and in that scene, instead of him being angrily silent then randomly trashing the dude's truck, which Clark would never do, we can have Clark try to reason with the guy, saying stuff like, "Why are you bothering the nice lady? She's clearly not interested." And the man, in true toxic male fashion, can try to punch Clark in the face, which obviously has no effect on Clark, but the man breaks his hand. Then Clark leaves, never to be seen again. You could cut back to Lois, kinda eyeing Clark in the canteen, indicating that she can tell from his body language that he's being suspicious, alluding to her being a good investigator and having good instincts. Then we can have the scene where he goes to the ship, she follows him, he turns on the ship and talks to the AI of his father, which is where we can have a shorter version of the original opening scene in Krypton. See, I kept it. I don't hate these movies, I just want to make them work. We can show Jor-El arguing with the council, going to his wife, downloading the codex and sending Clark away in a quick montage, with Jor-El explaining everything in voiceover, and then when Zod shows up to thwart them, that's when it can become a proper full scene. All that can play out as it is in the movie, to cement Zod's position as a villain. And I mean, Michael Shannon absolutely owns this character. So why wouldn't we just sit back and watch him revel in the villainy? The film can be as it is all the way till him getting to the Phantom Zone and the destruction of Krypton. Then, Lois gets shot by the ship and Clark saves her, leaves and learns to fly, which is a great scene. She follows him to Smallville, where she finds the guy from the school bus, and when she's questioning him, then we can have the school bus flashback. Because timing the flashback in accordance with Lois's investigations can actually give the whole thing a structure, and it also avoids repeating information, because otherwise we first see the flashback, then we get the same information again when Lois does her investigation. Then she meets Clark, he explains his side of the story, and she agrees not to tell his secret. Here we have the flashback of Clark's dad's death. But I want to change this. The original scene is absolutely ridiculous. The idea that they drove up to a tornado, ran from it, then Clark's dad went back to get the dog but didn't send Clark because that would reveal his powers is so random. Like, if it's normal for Jonathan Kent to run back for the dog, why can't Clark do it? he's younger and is generally faster and stronger as a young person, no one would think twice. It's such a random thing to sacrifice yourself for. Instead, I think it's much more powerful if Jonathan Kent is dying of something that Superman cannot help with at all, like old age or heart disease or something. Something that leaves Clark truly helpless. And as he's dying, maybe he makes Clark promise to help others as best as he can, but not blame himself for those he can't help, because he can't save everyone. Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm trying to cement his character as a hero and a good person. So far the film has been kind of light and straightforward. Not much crazy action or anything, and in general I think the look should reflect that. The colors can be mostly bright and calm, but now at the turning point, I think the colors could shift to the metallic blues of the original movie. Because now we're stepping into a horror thriller. We have that great scene where Zod takes over the world's TVs and broadcasts his truly scary message demanding that Kal-El be sent to him. We can have all the stuff where he turns himself into the military and is a little sassy to them, and all this can be the same as the movie. Zod can come and take both him and Lois up to his ship and they can have their scary interactions. Zod can make his intentions clear and we can have all that inventive visual imagery, and Lois can wreak havoc with the help of AI Jor-El. Obviously, the biggest criticism the film receives is the massive wanton destruction that takes place in the final battle. And you know, I see it. It's very uncharacteristic of Superman to put so many people's lives in danger by having a punching match in such a public space. But here's the problem. We kind of need the destruction to make the next film happen. So let's figure out a way to make this work while keeping it true to Superman's character. Let's go back to when Lois is speaking to Jor-El. Maybe he can tell her that somewhere in the world there is a place where the Kryptonians can be weakened, somewhere the sun's powers are drained. Meteors that arrive from Krypton along with the big ship in the Arctic. See, I am setting up Kryptonite in this movie because it plays a huge role in the next movie, so I think I'm justified here. Then, when Zod deploys the world engines, let's flip those. Instead of Clark going to the ocean to destroy that one, he goes to the one in Metropolis. Because first, it makes sense that he would go where the people are, because he's got to make sure the people survive. I really want a scene where he flies some people safely away from the range of the world engine before flying into it. This way, conflicting opinions can arise. There is actual justification of him being seen as a hero, while some people believe he's the reason for all the destruction. I don't hate the original way Zod dies, which is that Clark has no choice but to kill him. It's a cool idea, but it's too grim a note for me to introduce Superman in the world. I understand that there is a value in him understanding that it's too great a cost to kill people because he has experienced it firsthand, but I also feel like Superman is wise enough to know the value of life without having had to kill first. Also, if he's strong enough to snap someone's neck, he's strong enough to aim his head somewhere else anyway. They create the portal and suck everyone but Zod into the Phantom Zone, and Superman catches Lois as she's falling out of the plane, and as he's taking her to safety, he can say something like he needs to get Zod out of the city, or he'll just be putting people at risk, and she can say that she knows a place he can take Zod. He kisses her, they have a cute moment, and he flies off. Zod and Superman fight. Supes can taunt Zod and take off, and Zod can give chase. And he leads him to the Arctic, where there is a bed of Kryptonite meteors. And as they get closer, Superman hits the ground, losing his flight. So does Zod. And as their powers drain, they fight just like normal people, just two buff dudes duking it out. And it can feel especially brutal as they become more vulnerable because of the Kryptonite, and they start to bruise and bleed. As they fight, they talk. Superman tries to appeal to Zod's better nature, saying he understands what he's going through, but Krypton is dead and he has to accept that and give himself up, atone for his mistakes. It's not too late. And Zod can be like, I was bred for this. I was born only to save Krypton, and because of you, the last chance to save it is gone. So I will have my revenge, and once you're dead, I'll kill this world too. And as they get weaker and weaker, Superman lands the final blow. Zod trips on a cliff and falls into a ravine and gets skewered by a jagged meteorite sticking out of the ground and dies. Superman falls to his knees and cries, alone, mourning the death of the only other person from his home planet. The rest of the film can end as it is. He has his little moment with the military trying to gain their trust, he reminisces his childhood with his mom, and he joins the Daily Planet as Clark Kent. And that's that. I'm not saying that Zack Snyder's Man of Steel is a bad movie. In fact, in a vacuum, it's actually pretty good. The plot progression, it's exciting and inventive, and the story is really good. It just feels a little untrue to the Superman mythos, and that's all I'm trying to change. Hopefully, you like my suggestions. Thank you so much for watching, and consider subscribing to my channel. I had a great time doing this, and I can't wait to do the next one, which is gonna be, you guessed it, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Alright, I'm gonna head back to not sleeping for a week, and I'll see you next time.